Hey Alec, this is Keaton Everett from ABC going over your pitching video from the spring break camp. Um, Overall, pretty solid mechanics for someone your age. It's nice and clean. Everything's kind of working good together. We're just going to talk a little bit about your hip-shoulder separation and staying in line, using those hips a little bit more. And we'll kind of go over that and show you this here. So first off, I marked this line at the bottom. We're going to go back and look at your first pitch. All right, and you're just opening up with that left leg a little bit early. All right, you're coming up. All right, everything's going good. You're driving that hip forward first, keeping that heel closed. And as you can see, you just kind of pop open a little bit. If you were to draw a straight line from about the balls of your feet on your right foot straight down the mound, you shouldn't cross that line. All right, you should be either right on it, maybe a little bit closed, and you'll see in this next video, or your next pitch, there's a real big deviation, and it almost looks like you slip, kind of lose control. So we'll see this next one here, and this one you'll really be able to see that you're popping pretty far open. You see that foot fly way out there. I mean, that's probably good, almost a foot difference between your right foot and your left foot. All right, and then you can kind of see you slip on that dirt, and so we won't look at that one for breaking down the rest of your mechanics. So anyways, so just think about driving your hips, taking everything straight towards that catcher, keeping everything in line as long as you can. And don't think about using that left foot to pop anything open, all right? Your body and your foot's going to naturally pop open at the last second, but just think about keeping those hips closed longer and keeping them on line a little bit farther, okay? Next thing we're going to look at is what your posture's doing, all right? You got your hands set up high, which is fine for your arm path, because you really don't drop your hand far down, all right? You just kind of come out and up, which is fine, all right? So that's fine there. So we're going to erase this and kind of mark what your head's doing and what your posture's doing. All right, you want to stay over that back hip, all right, but you also don't want to overdo it and lose your posture. So you're going to watch what happens here as you're breaking down. All right, you got a spine angle right here, okay? We want to try to keep that perpendicular to the flat ground the whole time, so we just want to keep that spine angle nice and straight the whole way through our delivery, instead of dropping it back and losing that posture. All right, you want to stay back with everything, but you also don't want to overdo it and lose your posture. All right, so just think about keeping that spine a little more neutral as you go through your motion. But what you do really well for your age, especially, is at foot strike. A lot of guys we're going to see with that upper body is going to be almost, going down the mound ahead of their body, but you're staying up and back, so that's good, okay? So just try to clean it up a little bit over that rubber, so you're keeping this angle the whole way through. You're straight up there, you're straight up here, you're straight up back here, all right, instead of back and then in line, all right? So that's just something that will just kind of clean everything up, make you a little more efficient with everything. Another good thing at foot strike, that glove's out over this front foot. All right, that's good. Now let's watch what it does throughout your release. All right, you do kind of bring it back a little bit. We'd like you to see it stay out over this front foot a little bit farther to get your chest out there a little bit. But other than that, that's pretty good. Pretty good. You're going to see a lot of guys pulling that glove off a lot earlier than you are, which leads to a little more stress on your shoulder and your elbow and a little less power. Okay, so now we're going to look at is your hip-shoulder separation. All right, and this is a big thing with kids your age. It's a big strength issue. All right, it's a coordination issue. It's something that will come easier as you get older, as you get stronger. But basically, what you're seeing is this hip and the shoulder rotating forward at the same time. All right. So what we want to see happen here is we want to see the hips start first and then that upper body. Alright, so we want to get to a point where our hips are in this position, but our upper body's back, still ready to throw. Alright, so we're still back in this position, hips squared to the third baseline instead of rotating with the hips, or your shoulders are straight to the third baseline and those hips are coming through. So that'll help. I mean, that comes with age, but it's something that if you kind of pay attention to now, it's going to come a lot easier when that strength comes. Alright, so something you can do for that drill is any drill where you can have your feet spread out, just like in this position, and you keep this hip square to the catcher, and then you throw. So you can either start back in this position where you are at foot strike. Actually, let's go back and mark where your hands are at foot strike. Alright, so you're back in this position. Alright, it'll also help you work on keeping that glove out over your front foot. So you get your hips in this position, start with both feet on the ground, and then you start in this position with that hand back there with either a baseball or a towel, and you're just working on throwing from that position. So you're working on those hips are forward, those hips aren't moving at all, and you're working on throwing that from that position. Then once you kind of get used to that, then you can start with both of your hands and glove together out here, and then start back, bring your hands back here, break your hands over your back hip like you would out of the regular stretch, and then get your hand back up into this position and throw all one motion. So it's a little bit more dynamic, a little more intense, and that'll kind of help you with that, kind of coordinating that lower body and that upper body. And then we'll look at your follow through and release, and you're releasing the ball with 2 feet on the ground, which is good, nice and athletic and balanced. Alright, you're getting pretty good out over that front foot with your upper body, which is another good thing. So again, pretty impressed with your mechanics at your age. It's pretty solid. You got a great foundation, good base to build off of. Now it's just a matter of keeping your posture a little bit better and getting a little bit more separation in that hip and that shoulder. But anyways, hope you're able to get something from this video and get a little more efficient in your delivery, and make sure you're staying close too. You know, another thing actually I just saw is also how you're setting up. You notice that back foot is almost turned to the third base line. Alright, we want to make sure that back foot's set up straight towards that catcher. So you want it almost parallel to the rubber, so you're getting everything set up in line. But anyways, hopefully hope you have a great year this year. Hope you had fun at our camp. Hope you learned a lot, and we look forward to seeing you again with ABC.